Hi, my name is Pipalook, and I'm from Greenland. Please like and subscribe. I was raised in a small village by my amazing single mom, who was a farmer. We didn't have a lot, but we were really happy. She was my best friend. Once, when I was 5, Mom and I were at a funeral when suddenly I yelled, "Ew! Mom, did you just fart?" As I turned around to look, Mom turned red.
Of course not. This child is so silly. I've never in my life.
You're such a liar, Mom. I hear you do it all.
Pipalook, stop it.
Stinky, liar, pants on fire. By now, everyone was roaring with laughter as Mom chased me around and I ran ahead singing, "She farted, she farted." I was in a lot of trouble later, but I realized something. I'd made people laugh and I really enjoyed that. After that, I became the joker of the village. Mom thought I was hilarious too, as long as I wasn't joking about her. Once when I was 14, I'd taken my cows out for grazing in the fields, when suddenly I saw a bird drop to the ground. I ran to it and saw that it was hurt. As I tried dressing its wound, 2 strange girls came running up to me.
Hey, cow dung! That bird is my prey, so back off! Yeah, do what my boss said.
You hit this poor creature? Pick on someone your own size, witch.
Okay, you asked for it!
And with that, she jumped on me and we broke into a fight. I kicked her in her stomach, and as she howled in pain, I ran to my cow and went back home. Soon after I got there, I realized the 2 had followed me. They started complaining to Mom that I'd beat them up. She started it!
Oh, you horrible girl! I think you burst my appendix. Yeah, Auntie. I saw how your daughter kicked my boss. Wait, I'll show you.
She took some steps back and ran straight to the mean girl, kicking her hard in the stomach.
Ow! You moron! Boss, I'm sorry. So sorry.
As the 2 ran out, Mom and I were laughing our heads off. What idiots! I found out later they were some city brats who'd come on a school trip to the village. Thank God I wouldn't be seeing them around again. A few days later, when I got back from school, I was surprised to see a big car outside our house. I stepped in to find a wealthy-looking man talking to Mom.
The doctors think it's safe for Pipalook to move back to the city now. I can never thank you enough for taking care of my child.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Oh, Pipalook, how lovely and grown up you are.
Who are you and what's going on? Mom! And what she said next turned my world upside down.
He's your real dad, Pipalook, and your real mum died soon after you were born. You had some mysterious disease, and the doctor said you had to be raised in the village till your teens. So your dad left you with me, and now he's here to take you.
You never thought of telling me this. And what am I? Another animal on your farm that you keep and give away whenever you like? I thought you were my mom.
I'm sorry, Pipalook, but you're not my real daughter. Your dad has been giving me money to take care of you, and now you must go with him.
Her words were a big blow to me. I had to leave, and I did with a heavy heart. But my dad seemed really nice, and I felt myself warming up to him. He dropped another bombshell on me, though. Apparently, I had a sister, too. Her name was Ani, and she was a year older than me. A few hours later, I arrived at my new home in the city, which was a huge mansion. As Dad led me inside, he told a servant to go get my sister, and when she walked in, I nearly had a stroke. It was one of the girls I'd met in the village, the mean girl's minion.
Cow dung, what are you doing here?
You 2 have met?
Yeah, I met cow dung on a school trip. Why is she here, Dad?
Stop calling her that. Her name is Pipalook, and I told you I was getting your sister.
Yeah, but I thought you meant you were getting me a cute little puppy.
Dad warned her to be nice to me, but the minute he left the room, she whipped out her phone and called the mean girl.
Hello, boss. I've got some really gross news. Dad got me a sister, and it's cow dung. Yeah, the same girl from the village. Okay, I'll keep reporting over and out.
Gosh, of all the people in the world, I had to have this mad girl as my sister. It was summer break, and school hadn't started yet. I thought I'd get to bond with Dad, but he wasn't around much. He was mostly away for work and would give us gifts when he returned. But otherwise, it was just me and Ani at home, and I tried to avoid her as much as possible. A few weeks later, Dad hosted a grand dinner for some guests, and it was the first time I'd ever been to a party like that. Suddenly, Ani came running in with some things Dad got on his last trip.
Dad, your gifts are always so cheap. Why did you get me a calculator when I asked for a new cell phone? You wait till I steal yours.
A cell phone won't change your math grade from an F. but a calculator might help you get a D. Now go away and let me introduce Pippaluck to everyone. Come here, love. Meet my daughter. Guys, this one's really smart.
For the first time, I felt bad for Ani. Dad had basically just called her dumb in front of everyone. A week later, I joined Anie's school, and as soon as we entered the building, she ran to her boss, whose name was Diana. She smirked when she spotted me.
Well, well, you turned out to be really lucky, didn't you? But don't think for a second that you actually belong here. You will always be the uncivilized monkey whose best friends are cows. Ha ha ha!
That's a compliment because cows are amazing. And yes, I'm quite lucky and rich enough to have a private zoo for donkeys like you. The kids standing around us snickered and Diana looked furious. Apparently, lots of people in school didn't like her because she was mean, and they warmed up to me instantly. I made plenty of friends in no time because I could always make people laugh. Soon, I found out about a stand-up comedy contest at school, and I immediately signed up. Just then, Ani came running and pushed me aside and wrote Diana's name on the sheet too. Jeez! The night before the show, I was rehearsing my script in my room when I noticed Ani peeking through the door. Hey, you can't steal my jokes for Diana!
As if she needs your jokes. She's gonna win anyway.
How can you be so sure?
My cat told me cats are really good at predicting the future.
Okay, then tell me something. Why do you like being Diana's minion? You're just as pretty and rich as she is.
Are you crazy? Diana's so much prettier than me.
Says who?
Diana does. She's been saying that since we were kids, and she would never lie to me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to practice my clapping for the show tomorrow.
This girl was mental, but I'd started to realize that she wasn't evil like Diana, just really dumb. On the day of the contest, I gave my best on the stage and got quite a few laughs. And then it was Diana's turn. She stepped up in front of the mic and said,
Hello, judges! Before I begin, I'd like to tell you that I'm the most beautiful comedy queen of the school!
Suddenly, Ane laughed out loud.
Ha ha ha! Wow, very funny!
Diana glared at her.
Where was I? Yeah, so all my friends say I have the best sense of humor. Ha ha ha! Oh my god, what a joke! You're killing me, Diana!
And she laughed so hard she fell off her chair. Everybody started laughing too, and Diana looked super embarrassed. She screamed and jumped off the stage after Ane, who yelled,
Ah! What, boss? You told me to laugh!
But later, when the results were announced, I was declared the winner! I ran home happily to tell Dad, but he wasn't home as usual. So I called him up. Dad, you won't believe this. I got first place in the comedy contest. You should have seen how everyone loved it.
Oh, that's great, honey.
Yeah, it's Dad. Hello? Can you hear me? He just hung up the phone. At that moment, I really missed my mom. She would have been so proud of me. Probably not. She said I wasn't her daughter and made me leave. She wouldn't care either. As I was going to my room, I walked past Anie's room and saw her sitting on her bed, crying like a baby. Hey, what's wrong? Can I sit here?
Yeah, sit. But a little away from me because boss says cow dung stinks.
Oh, come on now, tell me. Why are you crying? It's about Diana, right?
Yeah, I did what she told me to. I laughed at her jokes to make her win, but now she's mad at me. She didn't even post my video on her TokTok account today.
What video and what account? She showed me Diana's TokTok account, where she uploaded Ane's videos, doing absurd things like standing on a table and doing a stupid dance, jumping like a frog on the street, even acting like Diana's puppy in one video. What the freaking fish? Diana has been using my sister as a joke to get followers. Don't you see the problem with this, Ane?
What? Diana's making me popular. Maybe I'll get so famous I'll be cast in comedy movies one day.
Ane was just watching the views on her videos and smiling. This Diana was a jerk, and I had to think of some way to teach her a lesson. And the very next day, I walked into the cafeteria with Ani, and we found Diana bragging loudly to a group of girls.
This is your first time going to France, loser. I've been there so many times. Actually, I was planning on seeing the fashion show in Paris this coming weekend, but my old grandma passed away last night. Ugh, just ruined my plans.
And Ani started to wail.
Oh my god, what? Granny died last night. But wait, I spoke to her this morning, when I called your house. This doesn't make any sense, and she said you guys were going to the village on the weekend.
As Diana's lie was caught and everyone started to laugh, she looked livid.
You don't know anything because you're a complete moron! Why can't you just keep your mouth shut?
Diana raised her hand to slap her, but I stepped in and pushed her back. Don't you dare touch my sister! Stay away from her! And you're not using her anymore for stupid videos or anything else, you black-hearted donkey! I knocked her down to the ground, and Annie jumped in too! While the two wrestled and screamed, I grabbed Diana's phone and deleted the TokTok account and all the videos. We got suspended for a few days for attacking Diana, but it was totally worth it. Dad wasn't mad at me when he found out, but he went totally bonkers on Annie.
You already don't do much to make me proud, and now you've gotten yourself suspended. I don't know what I've done to deserve a dumb daughter like you.
Aine went crying to her room and I felt terrible. Later that evening, I decided I'd talk to Dad about not being so mean to her all the time. I went into his study and he wasn't there, but I found his laptop open with an email from his lawyer that left me shook. The will left by Pipaluk's mother cannot be changed. She is the sole heiress of all her mother's wealth, and you as the stepfather get nothing. We will have to find some other way to get a hold of that orphan's money. Wait! Dad was my stepdad. My mother had left me money and he was trying to take it.
Why are you snooping around?
Can you explain this email, Dad? Or should I say stepdad?
Yeah. I'm not your father. Your mother left me for someone else and had you. But then they both died. And the police left you with me because there was no one else. I left you in the village with some poor woman who wanted a child so badly she didn't even take any money. I only brought you back because I needed you to sign some papers. But it looks like it's no use. So you can just go back to your idiot mother while I figure something out.
And what about my money? You can't have it.
Oh, yes, I can. And I will. What are you gonna do about it?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This man was pure evil. I ran upstairs and started packing my things. I wasn't staying here another minute. But as I was leaving, I heard police sirens, and there were cops at the door to arrest Dad for theft and fraud.
You called the police, Pipaluk?
No, I did. I heard everything you and Dad were talking about, Pipaluk, and then I snuck down to his study and sent his emails to the police.
How could you do this to your own father, Anne?
Because you're a crook. And you're not a good father either. My whole life you've told me I'm stupid and not good enough. Well, I deserve better than you. Take him away.
The cops took him away, and I turned to hug her tight. You're amazing, Anne.
But you're still leaving me to go with your mom, right?
No, I'm taking you with me. Mom said she took money to keep me, but I just knew in my heart that wasn't true. Your dad made her say that to make me leave with him. She's the most amazing mom, Annie, and she would love to have you too.
Are you sure?
100%. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Emery, and this is my story. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. When I was a kid, my parents always fought a lot. Mom got so fed up that she yanked me out of bed one night and snuck me out the door. Mom, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed.
Shh. Quiet.
The next thing you know, we'd moved to a tiny apartment in a strange town, and I hated it. I screamed and cried for Mom to take us back home. Take me back! This is whack! I tried reaching out to my dad, but he was always too busy. That made me sad. But Mom found ways to cheer me up. Eventually, I got used to our new place, and hanging out with Mom was pretty cool. After a while, Mom met someone new. Soon they were married, and we moved into a new house. My stepdad was nice, but his daughter was a witch.
Hey Naomi, welcome your new mom and stepsister.
Welcome them. You, Dad, they're poor. Why are we keeping them here and feeding them? They're disgusting and gross.
Haha, she's just kidding. She's a little shy. She's a sweetheart once you get to know her.
Naomi was the worst. She threw ketchup in my face, turned the lights off when I was reading, tossed my clothes out the window, and stole all my toys. I tried to tell my mom what was going on.
Hey babe, we're guests here. Naomi is a bit spoiled, but we have to learn to accept her.
Thank God Naomi and I didn't go to the same school. Naomi went to an expensive school for brats, and I begged my mom and stepdad to let me stay at my old school. But a few years later, things took a turn. My stepdad's company lost a ton of money and he couldn't keep up with the bills.
Girls, money is tight, so we'll have to enroll both of you in public school.
Public school? No!
Naomi threw the biggest tantrum and refused to eat for a week. Though I caught her sneaking cookies from the kitchen at night. On the first day of school, Naomi acted like a total spoiled brat.
Hey everyone! You may see this girl talking to me, but that doesn't mean we're related. She's just our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she is our maid.
No, she's our maid.
Naomi and I fought all the time. We shouted at each other in the hallway, had a food fight in the cafeteria, and one time during science class, we started shoving each other and accidentally hurt the teacher who was trying to separate us. She ended up with a broken nose. The kids thought we were insane. Neither of us had any friends. I mean, I couldn't blame them. Naomi was a crazy witch and I'm cool, but shy and weird and insecure and invisible. So yeah, after weeks of being outcasts, we grew a bit closer. Just a bit. 'Cause we were lonely, and we only had each other. Then one day in first grade, our parents sat us down to give us some news.
We're gonna have a baby.
Oh really? That's cool!
A baby. Why would you go and do a stupid thing like that?
The baby came and my parents were so happy.
A beautiful little boy.
Isn't he precious? Let's call him Sam.
I fell in love with Sam immediately, even though he was annoying. He cried a lot and peed all over the place. Naomi avoided Sam like the plague. She'd lock herself in her room and only came out to eat.
Look at his stupid, dirty face. Oh my God. Why is he throwing food everywhere?
I played with Sam every day.
You're so good with him. Honey, could you watch Sam while Dad and I run some errands?
Sure, no problem. As time went on, Mom and Dad started leaving him with me all the time. Eventually, I was Sam's permanent babysitter. When Sam turned 2, he turned into a maniac. He drew on the walls with crayons, smashed an expensive vase, and poured milk in my dad's office drawer. And they blamed me every time.
That vase cost a fortune. I'm taking it out of your allowance.
But it's not my fault.
I told you so.
Told me what?
That the brat was a bad idea. It's only gonna get worse.
And Naomi was right. One day, I had a huge chemistry test and told my parents way in advance that I needed to study. But they still shoved Sam in my face and just left. I'd had enough. I dropped Sam off in Naomi's room and headed out the door.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm done with this family. I'm out of here.
You can't just leave me with this thing.
Watch me. Look, Sammy, she has cookies. Sam grabbed Naomi and I walked out the door.
No, get away. Leave me alone. Help.
I hopped on the bus and went straight to my dad's. He was out of town when I got there, so his maid let me in. For the first time in a long time, I had peace and quiet. My mom and stepdad freaked out when they found out I'd left, but I refused to come back. In school the next day, Naomi ran up to me looking crazy.
I can't take it. Please come back home.
I thought you hated me?
I do, but Sam's a demon. He tore up all my clothes and flushed my makeup down the toilet.
Sounds like you're getting a taste of your own medicine. I turned to walk away, but then Naomi started bawling like a big baby.
Please, I'll do anything. Just come back home.
Okay, maybe I'll come back, but on one condition. You have to do what I say when I ask.
No way. I'm not your maid.
You won't be my maid, you'll be my assistant.
That's even worse.
Take it or leave it. Naomi reluctantly agreed. But even if she hadn't, I'd have moved back anyway because I missed my little Sam. The thought of him being ignored by my shallow parents and selfish Naomi made me sick to my stomach. I moved back in, and whenever our parents left us with Sam, I'd set up a schedule, so Naomi and I shared the responsibilities. Things were great for a while, but they took a turn. When Sam turned 10, he stole my mom's diamond ring and gave it to his classmate to impress her.
A pretty ring for a pretty girl?
Are you crazy? I can't take this.
Sam got so mad he punched the girl in the face. Then he sold Mom's ring to his friend.
I'll give it to you for $50.
40!
Deal!
One day, Sam's teacher called my parents in for a meeting. Of course, they were too busy to go and sent me and Naomi instead.
We came because our parents have leukemia. Oh my God.
No, she means anemia.
No, I think I meant amnesia. They're getting old and crazy.
They're just sick, and we came instead of them. Can you tell us what the problem is?
Sam gave one of his classmates a black eye. He broke a window, and he's been terrorizing the other students.
When we got home, I went straight to Sam's room. We need to talk about what's going on with you in school.
I'm busy!
If you keep this up, you might get expelled.
Get out!
Sam slammed the door in my face. He was very stubborn, but I wanted to help him. When my mom and stepdad came back that night, Naomi and I told them everything.
It's those mean kids, they hate me. And they're always making fun of me because I don't have nice things.
Oh, darling, we're so sorry.
We'll buy you new clothes.
Then Mom took Sam on a shopping spree. I couldn't believe they fell for his act. Later that night, my parents went out of town for a business dinner, and Naomi and I were watching Avatar World videos in my room when Sam appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, stupid witches, you're gonna pay for telling on me.
Get out of the way, psycho! We're trying to watch TV!
Sam pulled out a huge jar of crickets from behind his back and smashed it onto the floor. The crickets landed in our hair and all over our clothes.
Ha ha ha! Get them, my pretties!
A couple of months later, Mom and Stepdad called us into the living room to tell us we were moving into a brand new fancy house.
So wait, we're rich again?
Yes, we have twice as much money as we had before.
Thank God! I hated being poor.
Now I can go to a fancy college.
Only the best for my daughter.
A month later, Naomi left for college in another city. I could have gone away too, but I was too worried about Sam. So I got enrolled in a college close to home. But soon after, my stepdad enrolled Sam in an expensive private school, and he started hanging out with these spoiled rich kids. I had to make sure that he didn't get into some big trouble. In my sophomore year, I was reading in the park one day when suddenly I spotted a big dog running at crazy speed with a guy my age trying to grab his leash. His name was Alex, and he was a senior in my university. I gave him my hoodie, and we ended up talking for a while. I hadn't even realized 2 hours had gone by. Oh shoot, I gotta go. I gotta check in on my little brother.
So how? How do I get your hoodie back to you? Maybe I could take you out for dinner tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sorry, but with the university and some things at home, I really don't have time to date.
Gotcha. Well, here's my number. Just let me know where I can drop it then.
He started walking away, and so did I. But a part of me felt like I was doing the wrong thing. Hey, wait! How about a coffee tomorrow?
Sounds like a good place to start.
Alex and I started dating, and being with him just made me happy. For the first time, it felt like someone was noticing what I needed and was taking care of me. But things at home with Sam just kept getting worse. He was skipping classes and getting detention all the time. And then some creepy guys started coming around the house looking for Sam when my parents weren't home. When I asked him who they were, he just told me to mind my business. Then one night, Sam came home with a bruised face. Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm fine, sis. I can take care of myself.
Sam, I can't be your babysitter forever. I have a life of my own, and one day I'll just leave.
Then leave. My life, my choices. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Then he just hugged me and cried. The next morning I tried to talk to him, but he was already gone. I'm worried about Sam. I think something's going on with him.
You worry too much, honey. Sam's fine.
Have you seen his face?
He said he got hurt during football practice.
Soon after I graduated, Alex proposed. And I was over the moon! I'd have to move out, but I would only be 10 minutes away from Sam. Not that he seemed to care much either way. And on my wedding day, Sam was nowhere to be found. I kept calling him, but I couldn't get through, and we couldn't postpone the ceremony any longer. I felt so upset that he had missed this. But 2 hours later, I finally got a panicked call from Sam asking me to pick him up from some bad neighborhood. You're not a baby anymore. You just ruined one of the most important days of my life. I've always been there for you, and you couldn't even be there for me, even today. I started to give up hope of fixing him. I was fighting a battle alone, a battle that wasn't mine, and my parents just made things worse. Sam failed high school, but my stepdad paid the school board to give him passing grades. It made me so mad, but I had no say in the matter. Then one day, the company I worked for gave me an amazing job promotion if I moved to California. It was a great opportunity, but I felt unsure. Alex supported me either way, but I tossed and turned all night, thinking about what to do, and finally called Naomi.
You've got one life, Emery. You can either live it for Sam or live it for yourself.
Sam had started interning at his dad's firm, but I observed him for some weeks and saw that he still had the same kind of friends and was still blowing money and partying the same way. And I finally made my decision.
What? You're going to California? That's across the country. I need you here, Emery.
No, not really. You only need me around to clean up your messes. But I'm done doing that. Sam, you were right. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Emery, please. You're all I have.
You've got Mom and Dad, and they'll take care of you in their own way. You're their kid, I just can't be your parent anymore.
But you're my big sister.
And I'll always be there for you as that. So when you decide to fix your ways, come and see me, okay? I love you, Sam, but I'm leaving. It's time.
Hi, I'm Nicoleta from Romania, and I'm here to tell you something you probably aren't aware of. Each one of you has the power to change people, even the jerk ones. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. People in my little town thought that I was the cutest girl with red hair, and they completely doted on me. Everyone would notice me wherever I went and would start talking and laughing with me. Yes, I enjoyed it, but honestly, sometimes it got overwhelming. One day when I was 3, I was at my neighbor's place, and her son put a paper crown on my head and offered me a horseback ride.
All hail Nicoleta, the Queen of Romania.
Just then, his jealous little demon sister came running out of nowhere and pushed me off his back.
No, she's ugly.
Then she squirted glue in my hair. I pushed her and was about to attack her when my mum took me away. All evening, my parents cried and I tried to comfort them.
It's okay, Mom, Dad. It will grow back prettier than before, I promise.
Eventually, they just had to cut my hair. And it did grow back all lovely and thick in a few months. When I was 4, Mum started taking me to a small farm 2 hours away from our house, just to have my hair washed with goat's milk. That was insane. But being around sheep and goats was fun. I refused to let them wash my hair unless I milked the goat myself. It took me 4 hours though, but I did what I enjoyed. Dad's favourite thing was to spend every evening brushing out my shiny curls as we sat around the fireplace. But I only agreed if he read me stories. One day, Dad sent my picture for a modelling job and I got accepted. I told my parents that I was only 5 and I had a childhood I wanted to enjoy. They promised the job wouldn't affect anything and it would make them proud and happy. So I agreed, and just like that, I started modelling for the following years. By the time I was in 9th grade, I was a pretty popular hair model for all sorts of shampoos and hair products. But I never enjoyed having makeup slapped on my face and posing in front of a camera. One day, I was determined to tell my parents that I was done. But then Dad got off the phone with my agent, saying that there was an audition for the role of the Little Mermaid.
Mom, Dad, I'm just done with all this. Please just let me live the life I want, not the one you want.
With that, I stormed off to my room. And no, I didn't go to that audition. Months later, Dad said I got an acting job offer in LA. I knew there was no use protesting, but I thought to myself that the States is the land of freedom, and the moment I would arrive there, I would be more free. And just like that, we'd flown across the world and settled in LA. It was really different from anything back home, but all I was thinking about was school. I wanted to do well so I could study law in college. As I walked down the hallway on my first day of school, suddenly someone came rushing straight at me on skateboard. The only thing I could register was the most beautiful pair of blue eyes before we both rolled onto the floor. For a minute, we gazed into each other's eyes as my heart beat furiously. Someone slammed a locker door somewhere, and we both snapped into reality. He jumped to his feet and I held out my hand.
Oh, sorry,
He smiled and took my hand to help me up.
Yeah, I'm sorry too for not pushing you harder, ketchup head.
And with that, he let go and I fell back on my butt. He just smirked and skated away. I stared at him in disbelief.
What an A-class jerk.
I really hoped I wouldn't have anything more to do with him, but to my horror, it turned out that he was in my class. I just knew he was going to make my life miserable. The teacher asked me to introduce myself and I stepped in front of the class.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicoleta, and I'm from...
Before I could even finish, the boy burst out laughing.
What planet are you from? Do all the aliens there have hair like Elmo's fur? And does everyone talk like they're stupid?
Jack, that's no way to talk to a girl.
That's no way to talk to anyone. I've never met anyone as what do you call it?
Handsome, breathtaking, dreamy.
As rude? As rude as you. And don't make fun of my accent. I'm proud of where I come from.
Wow. Now your face is as red as your hair. Do all ketchup heads get this angry?
Only if they meet stupid people like you.
Someone from the back called out.
Geez, get a room, guys.
What room? I'm new here. Can someone guide me?
Oh yeah, I will.
Everyone started laughing as he got up. I didn't really understand what was so funny, but the teacher was banging on the table to make everyone quiet.
Jack, that's enough. You'll be staying back for detention today.
Tell me something new.
The teacher glared at him, but decided to ignore him for the rest of the lesson. Later at lunch, I found out from all the girls that Jack was the bratty son of some rich businessman, and he was just always getting into trouble.
But even the principal doesn't really say anything because his parents are big donors. I'd be a bit worried if I was you. You seem to be his next target.
I'm not scared of some stupid jerk boy.
Just then, Jack walked over to my table with a blonde girl and said,
Here, a new friend. She speaks like a robot, but not like a ketchup head. Maybe more like a mustard head. Listen, I have to be honest here. You guys do have a beautiful accent. See, I can be nice. How about a kiss?
I felt my temper flaring up again and rose from the bench to punch his face. But before I could attack him, he turned around to leave, and I decided to let it go. The next day, I walked into the classroom for the chemistry lesson to find no one was there. It turned out that it had been shifted to the lab, and I was 15 minutes late by the time I finally found it.
Ah, Nicoleta, you must be the new student. We're doing the experiment in pairs, and the only person left is Jack.
I couldn't believe I was stuck with him. Things were going smoothly enough for a while, and when Jack handed me a beaker, our fingers touched for a second, and I could swear I felt sparks. I sneaked a glance at him to see that he was also looking at me.
Is there something you want to say?
Suddenly he came a little closer and my stomach did a few backflips. Was he going to kiss me?
I was just wondering, why do you breathe like a dragon? I can hear your nose whistling.
Ugh. Well, I can hear your face talking. So I guess we are even.
And with that, I stormed off to the teacher with my lab results. I was just done experimenting with this boy. For the next 2 years of high school, he kept being a jerk to me. He would call me names all the time or pull stupid pranks. I knew he was just trying to get a reaction out of me. And the best way to deal with bullies like him was to pretend he didn't exist. One day, when I was in the library, holding my head over a really puzzling math question, someone suddenly pulled my notebook away.
What are you crying over? Tomato Queen? Your sappy diary. Dear diary, Jack is so mean to me.
Give me back my notebook. I don't have time for your nonsense.
Seems like you're as stupid as you look. You've done the question all wrong.
Oh, yeah? And you're going to tell me how to do it right?
Since you're practically begging me for help, sure. I can't say no to a damsel in distress.
And with that, he just sat down and started scribbling away furiously in my notebook. A minute later, he threw the pen down.
And that's how it's done.
Give me that. Wait, what? That's actually the right answer.
I stared at his smug face in complete shock.
How come you're always getting such bad grades? Why do you let everyone think you're dumb?
That's none of your business.
But Jack, wouldn't your parents be really proud to know you're so smart?
Suddenly, Jack got up from his chair, looking furious.
What do you know about my parents? Nothing. They wouldn't care if I was as smart as Einstein. They're too busy fighting with each other to have any time for me. So just stay out of it. And I don't think you know anything about me.
And with that outburst, he stormed off. For the first time, I felt a bit sorry for him. A few days later, the teacher gave back the last math assignments of the term, and she slapped Jax on his desk.
Jack, you're going to have to repeat the school year. Now, I want to give you one last chance. I'll give you another assignment, and if you do well, I'll give you a passing grade.
Thanks, but no thanks. See you again next year.
I tried to stop myself, but I just couldn't.
Jack, you know you can do it. I can help with it. But I don't think you even need any help. Miss, he's practically a genius. He really doesn't deserve to fail this grade.
Everyone was staring at us now, and Jack looked livid.
No, I'm not. Who do you think you are, Ketchup Head? My guardian angel?
I just don't want you to be left behind, dude.
Why do you care? I don't want a second chance. Stop acting like Mother Teresa.
And with that, he stormed out of the room. What a stubborn idiot. When I went home that day, I had some shocking news waiting for me. Dad was really unwell and was given time off work. And to make matters worse, I found out that he'd gotten sick because our immigration status had been under threat for a few months, and he'd been trying to deal with it. If we lost the case, we'd have to go back to Romania. I felt devastated. I skipped the next few days of school to help Mom take care of Dad. But when I finally returned, I was taking some stuff out of my locker when I heard Jack behind me.
Oh no, you're back. My eyes were feeling so much better because they weren't hurting every day looking at your hair.
I started walking away, but he kept following me.
Come on, what's the big secret? Where were you? Growing tomatoes? Making ketchup?
If you must know, Dad has been working too hard lately, and he fell sick, so I was taking care of him.
Oh, I feel so sorry for your dad. Sorry that he has such a dumb, ugly daughter. And he brought her all the way from Romania and worked so hard just so she can have a good life. You made him sick, Ketchup Head. You make me sick too, actually.
He'd really stepped on a nerve and I snapped. I turned around and gave him a hard slap.
You're just a spoiled, ungrateful brat who's been given everything in this world, and you just want to waste it and make others miserable. To think I ever felt sorry for you, I hate you. And don't worry, soon enough, you won't ever see me again.
I stormed off, and this time he didn't follow me. A few days later, we went to court to fight our immigration case, but to our dismay, the judge ruled against us. Just then, a well-dressed man came running into the courtroom.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit an appeal in this family's case. They deserve to stay here.
We just stared at the stranger and he started firing some legal mumbo-jumbo and handed papers to the judge. And to our shock, the judge actually changed his decision and we won the case. We didn't have to leave. As we hugged each other, we turned to the man and thanked him over and over again.
But sir, if I may ask, who are you?
I'm your friend Jack's private family lawyer. The boy has been after me non-stop for the past few days to look into your family's case.
Oh my God, Jack! Did he really do that? I headed straight for school. After that, I looked everywhere and finally found him sitting alone on the bleachers. He looked stunned to see me as I sat down beside him.
Jack, why did you do that?
I don't know. Maybe because you tried to help me even though I've been nothing but a complete jerk to you. And maybe because I've had a crush on you from the start.
My face broke into a huge grin.
I always knew it! You like Ketchup Head!
With that, I pulled him in for a long, steamy kiss.
Hi, I'm Pinky from Michigan. Before I continue with my story, please like and subscribe. My brain works a little differently than most people's. When I was in preschool, I thought it was a good kind of different. I was already teaching myself to read and do math. I also had a perfect memory. I could point and remind my parents where certain stores and markets were. I even helped them remember long Wi-Fi passwords. But once I got to first grade, I noticed something was off about me. Every time I talked to someone, they acted like I said something weird. One time, Mom invited a friend of hers over, and I started asking her questions. I was curious about, how'd you get that bald spot? Have you ever gotten pregnant? Do you ever pee in the middle of the night? Mom's friend was super offended by what I was saying and left dinner early. Mom was super embarrassed, and Dad tried to tell me that my questions were rude and too personal.
Next time you meet someone for the first time, ask questions like, where are you from? What's your job?
Dad gave me a bunch of example questions I could ask. But soon, I learned I didn't know how to act around people at all. And whenever I tried to make friends, I just ended up annoying them, whether I talked too much or stood too close to them. By the time I was in 10th grade, I got used to not having friends.
Pinky's like a robot.
What planet did that weirdo come from?
So instead, I studied super hard and became #1 in my class. I won tons of science fairs and awards for school projects. My whole life was books and homework. Then one day, something happened, totally out of the blue. Skylar, the most popular guy at school, asked me out.
It's so fun being in biology class with you. You're funny and interesting and hands down the smartest person I know.
I had no idea how to answer, but from that day on, Skylar treated me like a queen. He bought me jewelry and roses and always wanted to be my lab partner. 2 weeks later, we started dating, and everyone was super confused by it.
What's a guy like Skylar doing with a loser like Pinky?
She's gonna ruin him socially.
We were the talk of the school. Every day I asked Skylar why he chose me out of all the girls he could have dated. And he always told me the same thing.
You're different, Pinky. I like that about you. Why don't you believe me?
I tried to take Skylar for his word, so on his birthday, I planned a huge surprise for him. I Googled how to write a love poem. I spent hours thinking of the most romantic things I could tell Skylar. Finally, the day arrived. I brought speakers to school and stood up on a cafeteria table. Today is my amazing boyfriend's birthday. Skylar, babe, I've written you a poem as a token of my love. Your eyes are like starlight. Your skin's pale as moonlight. My sweet Skylar. I went on and bowed. When I finished, that's when everyone burst out laughing. I looked to Skylar, but he was heading out of the cafeteria. I ran to catch up with him. Babe, why did you leave? Don't you love the poem?
I don't get it. Why did you read it to the whole school? That was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Why? 'Cause you're embarrassed of our love? Embarrassed of me?
That's not what I said. God, why are you so stupid, Pinky? Everyone was right about you.
Skylar walked off angrily, and tears filled my eyes. Why didn't I just put the poem in his locker or something? Or read it to him on a date? I was so sick of being a chronic moron. I came home early that day from school. My parents were working in the living room. Then suddenly, the house started shaking. We were having an earthquake. Within a few hours, half of our house was destroyed. And the next day, the earthquake was all over the news. Then, all of a sudden, my picture popped up on the TV screen with my first and last name. And next to it was written, "Reported missing after earthquake."
Young teenager last seen yesterday evening after the earthquake.
Mom, Dad? What are they talking about?
I don't know.
What kind of mistake is this? The reporters must be talking about another girl and used Pinky's picture.
My parents rushed to the computer in their bedroom to Google my apparent missing report. But when I checked social media on my phone, I saw I had thousands of notifications. Kids from school had posted everywhere online how worried they were about me and how amazing I was. Best of all, Skylar had posted about me, saying he prayed they'd find me. I'd gone from being totally alone to the most loved person overnight. Before I knew what I was doing, I walked to my parents' room. We can't tell anyone this story is fake. Look what everyone's saying about me. They love me. For once, I have to hide in this house and pretend to be missing.
Pinky, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's not crazy. My life is hell. I deserve to have people appreciate me for once. Pretending to go missing is the only way I can have that. My parents argued with me for hours. Then suddenly, we heard a bunch of neighbors outside our door. I ran to hide in the closet while my parents answered the door. The neighbors showered them with sympathy.
You two are going through so much with Pinky missing and your home almost ruined. Let us help you out. We'll give donations to repair the damage to your home.
To my shock, I overheard the neighbors offer thousands of dollars in donations. It sounded like enough to pay for the damage. I guess that's why I overheard my parents agree, and why later they told me they were in on my plan. I hid in the basement all day while reporters and journalists came to our house. I was glued to my phone as more posts about me flooded my newsfeed. Half of them were from Skylar.
Man, I hope Pinky's okay. I hope we don't lose her.
He was mourning me. I found an old mask in my closet. I dressed all in black and took the bus to school. Skylar was probably crying about me. I had to see it for myself. I walked around the courtyard to see Skylar sitting on the bleachers with his friends. I hid under the steps.
Poor Pinky's still missing. Maybe she's writing me another love poem.
My sweet Skylar, your eyes are like starlight.
I told you guys I could get that weirdo to date me for 2 months. Now pay up. $200 each.
I watched in horror as all of Skylar's friends gave him $200. My head was spinning, and I had to keep from crying. I ran from the bleachers and wandered the street for hours. Of course, Skylar had never liked me. Instead, he dated me as a joke for money. I decided then I wasn't going to let Skylar get away with it. The next morning, I started to walk out the door with my mask on. I was going to find Skylar and let him have it.
Pinky, why are you carrying your school backpack? You're not leaving the house, are you?
I'm wearing a mask. No one will know it's me.
That's ridiculous. You could get this whole family in trouble. This going missing scheme was your idea.
I'm still allowed to leave the house. I'm not going to stay cooped up in my room forever. I'm going to school today whether you like it or not.
Pinky, wait. If you're going in disguise, let's at least make it believable. I'll help give you a little makeover.
But in the end, we didn't just do a makeover. I decided to completely transform myself. I got a whole new wardrobe, fake eyebrows, eyelashes, and a black wig. But I covered all of it up with a mask and hoodie. When I got to school, a couple of kids approached me, wondering who I was.
Are you new here?
Why are you wearing a mask?
Because I like wearing masks. I'm like a mugger. Come at me, bro. The kids walked away quickly, and I was glad. All I could think about was Skylar. I followed him around the whole day, hiding under stairs and even sneaking into the boys' bathroom. But Skylar just seemed like his normal, popular self. Just a hot guy who'd rejected a dork like me. Maybe I was the problem, not Skylar. Then suddenly, I saw Skylar in the alleyway, smoking with a bunch of guys. They were all wearing the same bandanas and counting money from a giant backpack.
I paid you $50 to date that email girl. You should have paid me $1,000 to date that freak.
It hit me. Skylar was in a gang. I wasn't the only girl he'd bet on for money. Their backpack was full of loose bills and even some gold jewelry they were stealing too. I ran away before anyone could see me. When I got to the cafeteria, all the girls stared at me and started whispering.
That girl's probably wearing a mask and hoodie because she's hideous.
I'd wear a mask too if I had an ugly face.
I felt my skin boil. I'd been the school freak my whole life. I wasn't gonna let it happen again. With that, I unzipped my hoodie to reveal my black dress and black wig. I took off my mask and tossed it to the ground. I could feel all the kids in the cafeteria turn their heads in my direction. And finally, at the corner lunch table, I saw Skylar. He waved me over.
Hey there. You new here? Because I think I would have remembered seeing someone as pretty as you.
Yeah, I'm new. Call me Z. That's my name. I decided to hang out with Skylar the whole day. I wanted to know everything he'd been up to. All of a sudden, Skylar turned red, and he was dead silent. Had I said something? Had I blown my cover?
Z, I gotta tell you something. I'm a mess. I've reached rock bottom. Especially after I lost my girlfriend. She's missing. I don't think they'll ever find her. Only a girl like you will help me get better. Can you be my girlfriend?
Sure, I'll be your girlfriend. Skylar and I spent the entire week together. He could have won the Academy Award for leading a double life. He took me on romantic beach walks and to crazy, expensive restaurants. Skylar was sweeter than he ever was when we dated. Then, one day I got really sick and couldn't leave my bed for days. I barely checked my phone and didn't talk to Skylar at all. When I was well enough, I checked online and saw no one had posted about me going missing the past few days. And when I went back to school, I didn't hear my name. Once, I was waiting in line at lunch next to a couple of girls. I decided to bring the new story up. So people still remember that missing girl. Pinky, right?
What missing girl?
That missing girl, Pinky from the news. She's probably missing for good. What reminded you of her anyway?
For once in my life, I couldn't speak. Everyone had forgotten about me just like that. People loved me and celebrated me for a bit. And then it was over. I couldn't think straight. I searched the school to go find Skylar, and when I did, he was kissing another girl. That's when I totally lost it. I sprang onto Skylar and tackled him to the ground. You're a cheat. You're a fraud. You're a liar. Skylar tried to fight me off, and crowds of kids gathered around us.
Get off me, you psycho!
You're not going anywhere until you tell the truth. Until you tell everyone here that you're in a gang and you break girls' hearts for money. I pinned Skylar to the ground and he started to cry.
Okay, fine. I'm in a gang where people pay us to date girls as a joke or for revenge. We've also stolen money and expensive jewelry.
Everyone gasped and started whispering. Some girls Skylar had dated began to cry. You want to know something else, genius? If you'd actually cared about me, you would have been able to recognize that I'm not Z. I'm Pinky, your old girlfriend that you dated for a bet. With that, I took off my wig.
Pinky, what? What is happening right now?
I was never missing, okay? I hid in my bedroom and lied about it for attention. I wanted to feel loved and appreciated for once in my life. But it doesn't matter, because everyone forgot about Pinky, the missing girl. Kids had gathered all around the courtyard and had heard everything. Some of them were laughing, others were whispering. But wherever I went, I could feel stares. My secret was out and posted everywhere online. I was getting attention again, except bad attention this time. Everyone thought I was a heartless witch, and they were right. How could I do something so selfish? All of a sudden, I saw my parents walking towards me. Someone had called them. Kids started pointing at me. You know what? I get it. I messed up. I'm sorry, okay? I wish I didn't care so much about what everyone thought of me, but I want to be better. And the truth is, I like who I am. Even with all my weirdness and my problems, I need to remind myself of that. but both my parents hugged me.
You did the right thing by admitting your mistake, sweetie. And we're sorry we agreed to let you do this. We should have been the responsible ones.
We promise we'll always be there for you. And we want you to know we're proud of you. We love you, Pinky.
Thanks, guys. I needed to hear that. I love you too.
Hello, I'm Isa from Austria. Before I share my story with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. I grew up in a large mansion with my parents, grandmother, aunt, and many servants. We were wealthy, and my life was almost perfect, especially because I had the most amazing mother ever, who spoiled me endlessly. Like when I was 6 years old and didn't want to do homework at school. It was against the rules, but somehow my mom convinced the teacher to allow it. And when I was 8, I wanted a big swimming pool indoors, so my mom built a pool in the backyard big enough to fit a whole family. I loved having my mom around. She was such a kind and sweet person, but she was a little strange. You see, my mom was fascinated by all things mystical and believed she could communicate with ghosts. No one in our family thought it was a big deal until one day, when I was 10, my mom and dad had a fight, and my dad walked out.
Who needs humans when you have a million ghosts to keep you company?
You're insane! Go hug your invisible friends! I'm out of here!
After my dad left, my mom became unhinged. She became obsessed with her hobby and spent hours locked in her room talking to herself. But one night, she lit too many candles and caused a fire that burned down half of the mansion. My grandmother was furious and demanded that my mom leave. So, my mom and I moved to a smaller place. And although we had enough to live comfortably, it was nothing compared to the life we had before. That really affected me.
Look, I bought you a new doll.
This is a rag doll, Mom, and it's so scary. Take that away from me.
But sweetie, I made this for you.
Well, you wouldn't have to waste your time if you didn't burn down my old toys.
My mom looked at me sadly before leaving, and I felt bad. But I was still a child, and I really missed my old life. I thought that eventually my mom would give up her obsession and we would move to the US to live with my grandfather. But she only became stranger. One day, an odd old woman appeared at our doorstep, looking like a witch, and offered to read our fortune.
Wow, the universe must have sent you. Please come in.
Mom and the old woman sat down and started muttering something. Halfway through, she began communicating with the spirits. The table started shaking, and my mom looked astonished.
What do the spirits want?
Oh, they're upset. Very upset. You burnt their old house down and now they're homeless.
They are invisible, right? They can stay in the White House and no one will know.
Child, you make fun of spirits. How dare you?
The strange woman stood up and started dancing wildly, and my mom joined in. It all looked ridiculous. I couldn't stand witnessing this crazy superstition, so I left. The next day, my grandmother came for an unexpected visit. My mom told her everything that had happened.
Now I just need to find a way to please the spirits. And
I can't believe you're still looking into these things. I wanted to give you another chance, but you haven't changed a bit.
My grandmother was furious and then left, and my mom cried all night.
Why can't you just let these spirits go? Mom, I really want to move in with Nana and Papa. I miss them.
No way. You saw what happened with the medium. I'm not putting them in danger again.
So you'd rather make us live like street rats? Come on, Mom. This is not real. That weird lady medium, whatever. She was tricking you.
I'm not discussing this, Isa.
I worked hard, researching documents and books and asking my teachers. I needed to pull my mom out of this mystical world and prove to her that there are no ghosts or demons.
While she spent time and money on psychics, seminars, and meditation retreats, I did research to debunk her beliefs. There is no scientific basis for crystal healing. The Bermuda Triangle has finally been explained. Most ghost activities can be traced back to change in temperature, electromagnetic interference, or... Mom, are you listening?
Oh no, it's the unholy hour. I can't talk now. Bye.
My words didn't get through to my mom at all. Things got worse when one day I invited a few friends over for a sleepover. Everything was going well until late at night when my mom walked into my room with candles and crystals.
It's a full moon tonight. Tell me, girls, when was the last time you got a cleanse?
She made my friends and me sit in a circle while she burned incense around us. I was so embarrassed. Of course, no one wanted to come to my house after that terrifying incident. And while I couldn't invite my friends over, psychics kept showing up at her door. Some of them even became my mom's friends and stayed with us for days. I had given up hope until one day, on my way home, I heard some kids talking about a challenge at a local haunted house. And that gave me the perfect idea. If I could expose this local ghost story, maybe my mom would finally believe me. I asked the kids if I could join them, and they agreed. That night, while my mom was sleeping, I sneaked into the haunted house with the rest of the group. But 5 minutes into exploring, I heard a blood-curdling scream from an upstairs room. I followed it, only to find one of the boys in a panic.
There's something here. It knocked that vase. It's a ghost.
That's not a ghost. It's a mouse.
I picked up the mouse, and its squeaking made the boy panic even more. He let out an even louder scream and ran downstairs. The rest of the group saw him and started running around like headless chickens. One by one, they all ran outside until I was the only one left. So I sat on a dusty old couch and took a nap. The next day, rumors spread around the school that I had stayed in the haunted house all night. I became famous overnight. Soon, others wanted to join me on my ghostly adventures, so we formed a club. By the time I was 15, my paranormal investigation club had become extremely popular. I had a lot of fun with it, solving all sorts of things, including a few alien and Yeti sightings. Life was pretty good, except my mom was still a hopeless case. One day, while my mom and I were out for a meal, we walked into our usual store. I was talking to the clerk when a girl about my age walked up to me.
Bonjour. Can I show you something? Those stress lines do not look good on a pretty face like yours. How about some incense for meditation? An amethyst pendant to relieve stress.
No, thanks.
Oh, Issa, that's a cute pendant.
No, Mom, it's not. It's hideous. Let's go home, Mom.
I rushed out of the store without waiting another second. Unexpectedly, the next day at school, I ran into the girl from the store again. She was surrounded by a group of girls and was selling them some strange little bottles.
What's that?
Oh, hello, sweet Issa. You smell divine. Imed, by the way.
And Issa for you. What did you give them?
Love potions. To tingle the romantic bones that are clearly missing from your body.
Shut up. You're scamming innocent girls. They'll have to report you to the principal.
No. Why don't you see for yourself first? If they don't work, you know where to find me.
After speaking, Ed winked at me and walked away. What a weirdo. Anyway, I agreed to wait a few days to see if that stupid potion would work. And, to my surprise, all the girls who used it ended up with a date with their crush. I couldn't believe it. I had to talk to Ed and saw her in the cafeteria.
I was waiting for you, pretty Issa. Some salad.
No, thanks. I don't want that. Tell me about the love potions.
It's a trade secret, obviously.
Or maybe that potion gave them a bit of confidence, and everything else was pure luck.
You can't prove that, can you?
I was furious. Looking back, all those girls were quite beautiful, but just a bit shy. Of course it worked. A few days passed and I decided to stay away from Ed. Soon enough, it was time to go to college. One night, I was packing my things to leave for school when my mom walked into my room with the amethyst pendant from the other day.
What's this for?
It's pretty. It reminds me of your eyes.
This was kind of exciting. Expensive. Mom, are you sure you can afford this?
Of course I can. And while we're talking about money, I have something to talk about.
That's when Mom told me that she actually had nothing saved for my college and suggested that I should ask my grandmother for my college fund.
There's no way they'll listen to me, but I'm sure they'll help you.
So, all these years you didn't consider that I had to go to college? How could you be so selfish?
I gave you everything you need. And I know your grandma won't hesitate to give you more money, but do you think I have any chance of getting more funds for my research?
I can't believe you're still thinking about that. Mom, you're seriously crazy. I wish I could have just left with Dad.
Don't use that tone with me, Issa.
Actually, I'd rather not use any tone with you.
Shut up, and don't forget I'm your mom.
You're the one who forgot.
I rushed out of the house feeling upset and wandered around the neighborhood. I felt like someone was watching me. I turned around and saw Ed right behind me.
What are you doing?
Trying to make sure the girl I like is safe. What are you doing, roaming around the streets at this hour?
I was just... Wait, did you say that you like me?
Well, obviously the love potion doesn't work on you, and neither do my hints, so I'll say it directly. Yes, Isa, I like you. Now tell me what's wrong. You look stressed.
I finally told her everything about my life, including my recent conversation with my mom. Surprisingly, she turned out to be a good listener.
That's tough.
I don't understand why Mom is so focused on the supernatural instead of trying to mend things with her family. It could really make our life easier, you know?
Maybe, but in her head, it's all real. I'm sure she has her reasons. She actually told my mom a while back how she heard knocking and scratching in the walls. Threatening messages appeared overnight, and she saw a white figure in her room once. This happened for years.
Oh, please! It was probably just her imagination.
Whatever it was, she's your mom, and you're the only person she can fall back on.
Maybe Ed was right, but I couldn't forgive my mom that easily. Being an irresponsible mother is a terrible thing. The next morning, I took a bus back to the mansion. Everything had completely changed. As I walked toward the entrance, I was overwhelmed with memories of my childhood. Then suddenly, I saw Aunt Mallory, my mom's younger sister. She saw me, ran over, and hugged me. "You've grown so much, my pretty Issa."
So have you. I mean, you look amazing, Auntie. How have you been?
"I'm good. But why are you wearing these weird clothes? Come in, let me set you up with a beautiful dress." Aunt Mallory led me inside, and I told her about my mom's spending problems and how my college education might be disrupted. "That's terrible." I knew my sister was weird, but I would have never thought she was this irresponsible. "Don't worry, child. She'll take care of everything." I was overjoyed and immediately started planning for school. Ed helped me a lot with figuring things out. The more time I spent with her, the more I liked her. It was a bit strange, but at least she was there for me, unlike my mom, who still refused to return to the mansion.
I'm happy you're having a good time there, but I don't think I'm welcome there.
You won't know if you don't give it a shot. Isn't family more important than your dumb psychic research? Why can't you just listen to me for once?
You have no idea what it means to be treated like a crazy person by everyone, including your own parents.
Stop playing the Vita, Mom. You did this to yourself.
I saw my mom cry. She was hurt. But I was so tired of her behavior. I was so happy to be back at the mansion, waking up to breakfast in bed, strolling through the lush garden, and feeling like a princess once again. My college was nearby, and I even had a private driver to take me there. Life was finally perfect, but I still missed my mom a lot, and she didn't want to see me. One day, I accidentally saw the amethyst pendant that my mom had bought for me. Suddenly, I felt my eyes sting with tears. I decided to ask Ed for help.
Why don't you do what you're best known for? Solving paranormal stuff. You solved all the cases around here except that of your mother.
But that was years ago. How am I supposed to investigate that now?
You live in the mansion. Try looking around old artifacts, cold spots. Maybe something will turn up to prove that she was right, and her family will finally see that she wasn't crazy.
Even I'm not fully convinced with that, Ed. How will I convince others?
Have faith, pretty Issa.
Ed took me back home, and I got to work. That night, I waited for everyone to go to sleep and then quietly snuck out of my room. I spent hours searching the library and wandering around the hallways, but nothing seemed suspicious. As I was heading back to my room, I tripped over a rock and a hidden underground door opened.
Oh, what the freaking frogs? A hidden passage!
I turned on my flashlight and walked down the dark hallway that led straight to my mom's old room. And suddenly, everything started to make sense. This door opened from the other side of the hallway. So, someone could have been sneaking into my mom's room every night and making those strange noises, even disguising themselves as a ghost to scare her. But who would do that? I was still lost in thought when a flashlight suddenly blinded me, and what I saw left me stunned.
Auntie?
Issa, what are you doing here?
Oh my god, it was you, right? You knew about this secret passage. Were you the ghost that haunted my mother?
My aunt was grinning maliciously.
What can I say? Your mom was always too stupid to figure it out. You probably took after your father.
But why, Auntie? What did Mom ever do to you?
She took everything from me. She was always the favorite child because she was younger and prettier. I did everything to get our parents' attention, but they didn't have time for me. I could still let go of that. But then she married the guy I liked, and I knew I couldn't take it anymore and worked out a plan. All I had to do was to show everyone how crazy she was. And she was stupid.
She actually fell for it. You were in love with Dad. Please tell me you didn't have anything to do with their divorce.
I may have given him evidence of your mom cheating. And while she was busy moping around, I amped up the hauntings. But the fire and everything were all her.
You hated Mom, but you helped me. Why would you do that?
To take away the last thing she had, of course.
Wow, you're evil. Wait till I tell Grandma.
You can try, but But you won't if you want the funds for your college to keep coming.
Oh, don't you worry. I've learned a trick or two of my own. After all, we are related by blood.
I recorded the conversation, and my aunt was stunned when she realized it. She tried to grab my phone, but I quickly ran out of the house. The next day, I asked my mom to come over and showed her and my dad the video. They were shocked and decided to kick my aunt out right then and there.
I'm so sorry, Mom, for never believing you.
I didn't give you a reason to trust me either, sweetie. So I guess it's a new start for us both.
My grandparents apologized to Mom. They asked Mom to move back in, but she just looked at me with sad eyes.
I wish you could have trusted me instead of thinking I was crazy. It will take a while to forgive you guys, but Issa, I leave it up to you.
It's okay, Mom. Let's go home.
She felt guilty and continued to support my college education. My mom and I still live in our small house, and we are closer than ever.